Welcome to Rant on Reels. I'm Michael Fooch.
And I'm Xavier Barnett.
Today on the podcast, we do deep dives into Aladdin, Brightburn, and we go to the vault to review the classic film Monster Squad. We have a special guest today. 27 episodes in, we decided we're gonna bring in a special guest. We're there now, so we'd like to welcome. We'd like to welcome Angelo from the podcast The Get Down and the High Class to our show.
Yeah,
welcome, Angelo.
Thank you so much, guys, for being on the show. This is awesome.
Oh, we're glad to have you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is my first time interacting with somebody other than Fooch. This is amazing for me.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I think you guys should fight.
To the death? I don't know.
We have a lot of fights on this. I win most of them, so it'll be nice to have someone that can,
exactly.
talk with me.
Exactly, man.
We just
Thank
let
you.
him live in this fantasy world.
How you guys doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm doing good. I've been working out, eating proper.
I've not been doing those things this week.
Yeah, I heard.
Any news this week you want to talk about, Xavier?
First, I want to talk about, don't forget to like and subscribe us. Angela, you had said your podcast is on Spotify, iTunes.
Yeah, that's right. Spotify, iTunes. We're trying to get platformed on YouTube right now. We got some help from Mr. Dave McGackian. I don't know if you guys know who he is. He's going to try to help us
our
out.
producer.
Yeah, he's a really good guy.
He's pretty hot. He's pretty cute.
He's taken though, ladies.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, so we're trying to get out on YouTube because I got two of them. I got one called the Get Down, which is based out of Hamilton, and it's based on our community and about mental health, people helping people. Mm-hmm. And then I have a second one, which is called the High Class Podcast, which is community, culture, style, and cannabis. So it's all about people that are involved in the cannabis community, and I'm trying to get people to subscribe and like, just like you guys on Spotify and iTunes.
I think it's really nice of you to go out there and deal with mental health and talk about people doing good things around the city. I think that's a really admirable thing.
Yeah, thank you. It's you know what? It's interesting because I didn't try to get into it. I just started the podcast with my cousin one night, mm-hmm. and we just rolled with it. Then I thought, I had mental health issues. Like everybody, a lot of people have mental health, but nobody wants to talk about it, right? Because like you say the word mental health, people are like, that guy's nuts, and we'll never talk to him again. So I started this podcast with the people that helped me through a tough time in my life, and sort of put it out there and to help other people, to let the community know that there's people out there that can help them and not to be afraid,
Well, as a teacher, I see the big A word these days is anxiety, right? That's
yes.
the mental health that a lot of these kids deal with, and I think it's really good for a lot of people to come onto a podcast like this and listen to kind of ways they can help themselves.
Yeah, we all have our issues.
Oh yeah,
and
we're all messed up in the head. So
we
different to varying degrees.
No one's perfect.
No one's perfect, right? And you either get away, like you guys get away and you guys go watch movies, right? And then you review them. Some people don't know that they have a gift and they don't know how to do it. And they don't realize that, okay, wait a second, I have this issue. How do I go get help?
No, it's so true. I learned a long time ago when I was in high school, the best way to get rid of my stress and my anxiety was to get lost in another world.
In another world, man. That's it. And
I was the same way. Escapism, right? That's
just temporarily. Like I don't want to escape forever. Like
you want to come back.
I definitely want to come back in the real world. But
but it's just nice to fantasize. Like I remember reading a lot of books back then and just being immersed in the world, right? It was always fun.
Absolutely. I used to go, I still go to the movies by myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
There's no reason.
And people today, they're like, that's weird. I'm like, no, it's not, man. I love getting lost.
It's so funny because when I was younger, I was terrified to go to the movies by myself.
Yes.
Until the first time I went to the movies by myself, and I'm like, I like this.
Right.
I was at a theater once where it was just me, and I'm like, this is the best experience, the best movie experience ever.
Right. It's just you get their own popcorn. You just sit there and just chill out.
I always thought of it as just like sitting on my, how we just sit at home and watch Netflix by yourself. So why not just go to a theater? Like, there's no big difference between the two, right?
Yeah, and you know what? Like, my big thing too is I know some people don't like the trailers.
If they've been listening to the podcast, they know that this guy does not watch trailers.
I am a trailer buff, man. So like, today before I came here, I went on comingsoon.com and I want to see what's coming out. I could watch shows all day,
it's like
man.
The total opposite.
I love trailers.
You know what? It's funny though, Angelo. When I was younger, I loved trailers. I'd be the person that I'd bug my friend Adam Silhaney all the time, like, one more trailer, come on, give me one more. And I'll never forget the movie I stopped watching. It was when we were going to watch Batman Begins. Oh yeah. And there was a trailer to King Kong, and it was like a 3-minute trailer. To the end of the trailer showing King Kong falling off the building. And I'm like, wait a minute. I've seen a King Kong movie. I know that's the ending of the movie. And then at that point, I'd seen so many movies. I'm like, oh, they all show the endings of the movies. And the more movies you watch and the more trailer you can recall, you can put movies together watching them. So I'm like,
yeah, you're 100% right? Like there's an industry built on like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but there's an industry built on them building the trailers. Yeah. So every year you're going to see a different trailer established, but every movie is going to have the basic same type of trailer. Mm-hmm. And you're right, because a lot of these trailers, they got to show everything, all the good stuff in that trailer. Mm-hmm. So you can basically, if you're smart like us, because we are smart.
Exactly.
I like to think so.
Yeah, you can basically tell what's going to happen in that movie. And a lot of regular people can't understand it. They can't see it. They can't foreshadow it. Like, I can foreshadow within 5 minutes of the movie what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but I know. Like, it just.
That's why I try not to look into it so hard. So I try to I'll watch it, but I just look away and a little bit.
I started rubbing off on people. Like Dave's wife, she won't go watch trailers anymore. Xavier's doesn't like trailers. I've turned him against them. Not enough to walk out of the theater yet, but I'm working on it.
No, I'm not gonna lie. If I see an Endgame trailer, I'm like, I want to hype myself up. So I watch it just for that, or say the Spider-Man Far From Home. I only see one trailer. And that's it.
I will say this though. Now that I did watch the Endgame trailer after I saw the movie, and it was a good trailer. Like it's how I would make a movie. I wouldn't let them show I'd let them show the first 15 to 20 minutes of a movie, and that's it.
Yeah, they did a very good job on that. Yeah. That trailer made me actually watch the Infinity War again. Right? I watched it again, and then that's where I caught the Doctor Strange when he does this. Is like, oh, that's huge. That's a big part of the end game, and it just was like, oh man, it's so good.
That's true. Mm-hmm. Any other news going on, Xavier?
Nothing too big. Oh, I guess we can just talk about how it's the Sonic movie. So, the director gave in to the fans. The fans have won this battle.
This is becoming a huge trend these days. These fans getting things changed in movies. We saw the protest against Johnson for Star Wars, so he lost his trilogy because of the fans.
Really?
Yeah, he went to DB, the guys that did showrun Game of Thrones.
But now they're protesting. Now they're even getting protested because of how Game of Thrones ended. They're like, there's these huge petitions and people are caving to the fans. But I always find it interesting because I'm the first person to kind of judge and throw judgment. I did the same thing with Robert Pattinson last week about him as being the new Batman. But I was the first person to throw stones at Warner Brothers for hiring Heath Ledger. I'm like, this will never work. Heath Ledger can't be the Joker. He's no Jack Nicholson. I said the same thing with Chris Evans as Captain America. Look, Chris Evans. He's a scrawny little kid who was in Not Another Teen Movie. Johnny Storm. He already was a superhero. He can't be Cap.
Right, and then you see them, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
but they have a vision, right? We don't know what they're thinking and or how they do things. One thing we'll talk about in this movie is Will Smith was another one. Ooh,
yeah, huge fan backlash.
Literally the only good.
Spoiler alert for our review.
Well, not right. Spoiler alert for the review, not for the movie. But he's one of the only good things about this movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This Sonic movie, it might have been trash. I don't know.
Oh, it's gonna be bad.
It's gonna be really bad.
I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know. But maybe it'll be good now. They're gonna redo the character.
redesign him and everything.
Are they redesigning because he doesn't look like the original, right? That's a whole,
Yeah, there's a guy that's a fan that made him look like the original. I'm like, if some guy that's sitting in his computer can do it by himself.
I've always said this though, like in a room of writers, you need the leader in charge to be an absolute fanboy, and then the writers need to be half fanboy and half not fanboy that don't even watch the stuff, so they can work together.
Realistic.
Yeah, that you can work together because there's good ideas on both sides of the fence on that.
I'm still waiting for a Super Mario's reboot.
Oh God,
they actually might be. They've
been talking about this for over a year now.
They gotta get to it. They brought Sonic out. Come on, nobody played Sonic.
No, it's
come on. Now they play it on the iPad.
There you go. Nintendo all the way.
Yeah, man, they play it on the iPad. The kids play Sonic now on the iPad, but back in the listen, Sega went under. Yeah. Because nobody played Sonic.
Sonic's a Nintendo character now. People don't remember. People need to remember this. Sonic is in Super Smash Brothers. Yeah. He is a Nintendo character. Okay.
Olympics games. Mm-hmm. My parents hated me. They got me a Sega.
Yeah.
And then they got me a PlayStation. I never had Nintendo until Louis.
Have you ever had the Master System? Sega Master System?
No.
I was a homegrown Nintendo boy. Like I had all of the Nintendo systems.
Yeah, same.
Growing up, the original Super Nintendo 64 was my favorite system, and I know people hate the controller. I love that controller.
The 3?
Yeah,
3, right?
Yeah, I feel like when you're playing first person shooters like Perfect Dark and GoldenEye,
GoldenEye,
it was so good. Like you have your right hand, you're sidestepping, your left hand you're moving, and you're shooting like a trigger, like an actual gun. I just I didn't like first person shooters on PlayStation or Xbox.
Nah.
Well, you didn't like the future.
Anyway, I guess we'll see. So the release date, I believe, got pushed to 2020 now.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
Because
when I think of love, I think of Sonic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sonic's the classic story of love between Blue Hedgehog and Rings.
I prefer I think Donkey Kong makes more sense. You make a Donkey Kong movie on Valentine's Day. An ape's love of bananas.
How did they come up with Valentine's Day for that?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I think they're just probably, where can we release it so we have the time? So they probably switched it.
But I feel like February's been the last 2 years have been big movies have been released there. I feel like this is...
Marvel.
That's also true.
Yeah, that's true.
So that helps a lot.
All right. Should we get started into this podcast?
Let's get into it.
You get talking about movies.
People
it's very
probably just
easy.
tuned out. They're like, hey, I thought there was supposed to be movies here.
We're talking about Sonic. It's a video game movie. All right. So we're going to start with Aladdin. We've all seen the 1992 version.
Absolutely, yeah. Loved it.
Now, that is my personal favorite Disney movie. I don't know where it stands on yours.
It's probably number 3. I'm a Lion King guy.
So it's all top 5. I'm a Lion King guy too myself.
Nah, Lion King's 5 for me. So I'm a Lion King guy, but not as high as you two.
See, listen, the originals got Robin Williams as
he's so good,
right?
Yeah.
The genie, I don't know. I haven't seen the movie.
I think as I'll talk about, Will Smith is the best part, and we'll deep dive into it and talk about how Will Smith takes the character. But I personally, when I heard Will Smith was going to be cast, I'm like, oh my god, this is a perfect casting. Because even if Robin Williams was alive, he couldn't play a live action genie.
That's right.
He's a voice actor. He was the voice actor, and he was fantastic with the voice. But I don't think he's that. I don't think he would have worked.
No, he wouldn't have worked. You're right. You're absolutely right.
For the live action, you make a good point.
Yeah.
Now, if they were making another animated movie, we all forget though too. In Aladdin, the second movie, Return of Jafar, he wasn't the voice of the genie.
I haven't even seen that one.
He had a beef with the owner.
Yeah, Dan, the guy who does Homer Simpson's voice, Dan Castellaneta or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Homer Simpson.
Homer he did the voice.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I haven't even seen that.
There's 3
You guys are blowing my mind
Prince
right
of
now.
Thieves is the third one, and he came back for that one.
They were straight to VHS.
They were. They're not.
Let's be honest.
VHS, they were.
You're going good when you go straight to VHS.
Well, but here's a trivia question for Angelo.
Yes.
Up until last year, Disney had only released 1 sequel to theaters. Can you name that movie?
1 sequel to theaters. Can you give me a little bit of a hint?
It was in the 80s and 90s. the two movies. It's
Well,
an animal-based movie.
80s and 90s. Movie.
They're in the 80s and 90s? I thought they're... I guess it makes sense. It's in the
80s and 90s.
I think they're actually both in the 80s, but I'm not sure on the second one's date of release.
Okay, so
It might be both in the 80s. Let's say they're both in the 80s.
Was it, had to do with dinosaurs?
No dinosaurs.
Oh, man, Tafucci got
Let me
me
say
stumped.
Land Before Time.
Yeah, I was going to
No,
say.
that's not Disney movies. And only the first of
They're
those
not-
went to theaters.
Land Before Time wasn't Disney?
No.
No, it
I
wasn't.
love that series as a kid.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, the second one's is better than the first one, and they go to theaters. The second one had Chomper in it.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it did. I don't know. Who?
The Rescuers and the Rescuers Down Under.
Oh my god, the little rat, the mice.
Mice, but like
mice. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Disney has made a lot of sequels, and they just get sent straight to DVD. But some of them are actually decent. But
Lion King 2 went to VHS. I thought that was in
Nope,
theaters.
no theaters. Neither did the Lion King 1.5, which
I know
is
that
better
one,
than the Lion
yeah.
King 2. But none of those extra Little Mermaids or the extra Beauty and the Beast or the extra Cinderellas or Peter Pans. They never went to theaters.
Wow.
And there was another Disney movie that sequel went to theaters last year in November. Do you know that one?
No.
Xavier?
It was,
It was our first movie we reviewed on this podcast.
oh, Mary Poppins Returns?
No, that's not even an animated movie.
Oh.
And that came out in December. Oh,
We started the podcast in December.
No, we started in November with this movie.
Wreck-It Ralph 2?
That Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Ralph
That's
Breaks
the
the
second
Internet.
one.
Okay.
And
Oh, that's Disney. It's not Pixar. Okay, that's a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
Yeah, you tried to get me.
All right. Anyway, let's get started with our opening thoughts. Xavier, after you, your opening thoughts on Aladdin.
Kind of stale. It's bad because like I really like the movie of Aladdin, and this is kind of like it's different, but not different enough to be good. The actors are kind of like the guy they got to play Aladdin's kind of stale. He's not really engaging. Princess Jasmine's a little bit more engaging, but yeah, Will Smith's the best part of the whole entire movie. That's where I'm gonna go with that. I don't want to rip it too hard.
You know, my expectations were extremely high. As I said, the 92 version is my favorite Disney movie. And I knew that, it cannot be that good, could it? But then last year, or 2 years ago, when Beauty and the Beast, the live action came out, I'm like, wow. Like, from the moment Belle walked out of that house to start the Belle song, I was like, oh my God, this is like one of the greatest things ever. And my smile never left my face. And I just didn't find this in this movie. I was underwhelmed, and that's how I would describe this movie. Very underwhelming. It was a good movie. It was enjoyable, but it wasn't great. It wasn't Disney. You know, I never really got engaged in this film. I was never into it at any point. You know, the movie starts like Belle with my favorite song, or like Beauty and the Beast, my favorite song, One Jump, and nope. It just didn't do it for me. I didn't like the way it was filmed. I didn't like anything about it. I didn't like the choices they made with the characters, and we'll get into this on the deep dive. I didn't like how they portrayed Jafar. I really didn't like what they do with Jasmine. This movie Beauty and the Beast added a lot of backstory to Belle, a lot of backstory to Gaston, a lot of backstory to the Beast. And it worked for the story of Beauty and the Beast. This movie did the exact same thing. They added backstory to some of these characters to make it 40 minutes longer. And they try to be a little bit different. But they try to keep all of the original aspects the same. And because of it, everything was really forced together. So I didn't really like it. I will say this, the best part was the genie. He, in my opinion, stole the show, as you would expect from a guy like Will Smith.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's get
You
started.
said everything I said, but in a much more smarter and in-depth way.
Thank you. All right, so the movie, like the original Aladdin, begins with Arabian Nights and kind of the bizarre sequence. But Guy Ritchie decided to do a lot of changes to the early part of this story. There is no peddler to tell the story. You know, like the peddler tells the story of the genie and the lamp, and then we go into the past. Well, this one starts with like everything in the first like 10 minutes of Aladdin combined together in Arabian Nights. So we see like Jafar taking the criminal to the Cave of Wonders. We see Jasmine with Raja just kind of like sad and depressed. We see like everything kind of going on in the background. And when we do actually meet Aladdin, it's the scene where Jasmine has left the palace and is giving that bread to the children and gets caught. So Aladdin steals like a necklace or a bracelet from some girl with Abu, and he gets some dates with it, and then he sees Jasmine. He's like, I'm gonna help her, and he's like, do you trust me? She's like, okay, yeah, I trust you. He takes her bracelet, gives it to the bazaar owner, and in return, she's let off. But Abu takes it back from him, and they run away, and then we get the One Jump song. Now, I guess the question I really have is, what are your thoughts on having Jasmine already in the bazaar before we kind of get introduced to her?
Before we get introduced to her, I think Guy Ritchie wanted to cut little corners because people have seen the story of Aladdin, so I guess he tried to accelerate a little parts of the movie in that kind of aspect. I think
I didn't mind it initially, but as I saw where the movie was going, I'm like, this doesn't work, because now you're not really introducing the. We don't really get motives to why Jasmine does want to leave, right? And unlike the original, she's leaving for good initially, right? She's not going back. But in this movie, she's just kind of like, I'm sneaking out for a minute to kind of see what life's like, but I'm gonna go back.
See my people.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And then you've already kind of talked about Aladdin, like he's kind of underwhelming too, right?
Yeah, the guy that they chose to play Aladdin, I'm running a blank on his name here.
His name is Mena Moussaoud.
Oh, well, I guess he's a new guy because I've never seen
He's Canadian, believe it or not.
He's Canadian?
I think he's from Brantford or somewhere around
Oh,
Toronto.
he's from our area.
Wow.
Okay, awesome.
I wanted to say that.
Well, I wish this movie was even better now because he's a homeboy, you know, from Homegrown. But yeah, I just felt that Aladdin wasn't really. It didn't feel like he was the main guy.
And we'll talk a lot about that in next. I agree with you. And it's Aladdin. It's supposed to be Aladdin's movie, and we don't get that.
He's in the title. Right?
But I'll even say this: his introduction is poor. Like in the original movie, he's stealing bread to survive.
Yeah.
And then we get the whole One Jump song that kind of goes with it. In this movie, he stole like jewelry to get dates for himself, right? Yeah, and Abu doesn't. He does give the dates to kids. They kind of try to keep it original, but it's not the same character, right? Like he's much more seen as a thief in this movie, whereas in the original, he's, you know, it's the circumstances. He's doing it for necessity.
Yeah. In the original, he almost died to get that bread.
Yeah.
And then he sees these two kids suffering, and then it shows him that he's the diamond in the rough, right? Like, I guess they tried to show it that way, but not.
It didn't. You don't feel the sympathy towards Aladdin that you do in the original. And this is part of the problem, right? And you don't really feel for Aladdin in this movie. Like it's not like, oh, you know, I get why you're doing it. He seems to be happy to be a good thief. Whereas, you know, and we get this in the reprise of One Jump, right? Would they see a poor boy? No siree, right? There's more to him. Whereas I feel like in this introduction to Aladdin, no, he's a thief. That's what he is.
Yeah, that's what he's born to do, and that's what he's gonna do. So
after Jasmine steals this loaf of bread, they decide she tells him to run, go in the back, and we get the One Jump song. What were your thoughts on the song, on how they chose to do it?
I don't like any. I don't think I like any of the songs in this movie, to be honest. Compared to the original.
How would that be? Well, in this one, I feel like the camera was off because it was like slow motion in certain parts. It was like weird. But more importantly, the lyrics don't match this song anymore, right? Mm-hmm. I steal furnace. It's basically right. I steal to survive. Otherwise, we'd be friends. But no, you're helping Jasmine in this case. You're not stealing for yourself anymore. You're stealing for Jasmine.
Yeah.
And you're helping her. The lyrics no longer match, right? In the original, he's holding a loaf of bread. Look, if I didn't get this bread, I'm not going to live.
I'm not eating. This one, it seems Jasmine kind of more influences him.
Exactly where we're going to see this Jasmine's movie.
Women.
Right? Oh.
The things we do for love.
Right?
That's good.
This is Guy Ritchie, guys. This is a Guy Ritchie movie. It sounds like this is typical Guy Ritchie direction.
Yeah,
right.
It is. It's very Guy Ritchie.
It doesn't really work. In my opinion, it doesn't work with this film.
He's gonna take a dark approach to everything he does. That guy.
No. So then we get this connection. So Aladdin, like in the original movie, takes Jasmine to his house, but he doesn't actually give back the bracelet. And I was thinking the entire time, like, why haven't you given back the bracelet yet? Mm-hmm. And Aladdin knows her quote unquote secret. She lives in the palace, and not the princess, obviously, but you're a handmaiden to the princess. And he starts criticizing the princess a little bit, like the princess should come out. And Jasmine's like, the princess wants to come out, but she's not allowed. Obviously, going to defend the princess. Do you think that the princess's role is more important than the sultan's role in this case?
It's a good question. I mean, in a lot of these type of royalty movies and royalty-based themes, they always have the female character being like the beacon of hope for the people. Like we've seen it in like Game of Thrones with Queen Marjorie. Oh my God, I can't believe in Robin Hood that
Maid
Marian, right? There you go. Thank you. And this one, the mother used to go out and talk to the people. So I guess that's what they expected from Princess Jasmine, where the Sultan deals with the military. And
yeah, that's fair. That makes a lot of sense. So, unlike the original, where it's the guards that kind of break into his house, Jasmine sees the prince from the beginning of Aladdin arriving into the palace. She's like, "Oh, I need to go help the princess." So she leaves and she's like, "Can I have my bracelet back?" And Aladdin's like, "Oh, I don't know where it is. Abu had taken it." And she basically leaves in anger, saying, "You are just a thief." And Aladdin, now we get this reprise from him, right? Would they see a poor boy? No, sorry, there's much more to him. Again, that doesn't work in this scene. She just kept the necklace.
Yeah. Well, the bracelet.
The bracelet, sorry, not the net. Yeah. And then even Jasmine, like he did a bad thing, and Jasmine's like, "Oh, he's kind of cute. I kind of liked him." Like, this is so out of place.
He's charming.
He's good.
He's a bad boy. Girls love bad boys.
At night, Aladdin decides to break into the palace to return this bracelet. And then as soon as he enters the palace, Jafar sees him and is like, "Oh my God, this guy's the diamond in the rough." Can you explain to me? Can you explain? Did you understand this?
I don't know how he knew that. Did he know that he was going back to give back?
No, he just sees him breaking into the palace and is like, "Oh, he's the diamond in the rough." Now, you haven't seen the movie. Does that make sense to you?
No, it doesn't.
He's like, "Oh, diamond in the rough. He must be it." I'm like, What?
Well, to be fair, I guess he doesn't really care because he sees a poor boy, right? So I'm like, if he dies, he dies. If it doesn't work, I think he just gets whatever he finds on the street.
But he seems to really know, like in the whatchamacallit, because like, don't you remember like during a scene, I don't even, at some point in the middle of this, Jafar goes down to the gates and says, "Oh, these guys aren't worthy enough," right? Like he seems to know.
Yeah, that's
so,
true.
I don't know.
And then he Spartan kicks some guy into a Spartan hole.
I
forgot to add that into the movie.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Yeah, no idea why. He's like, Jafar is very emotional in this movie. I dislike his character. In the first movie, he's very cool. He's collected. He's calculated in how he goes about this. In this movie, if you just say that, you're number 2, he'll just lose his shit.
Jafar, hold on. Jafar is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Right, correct?
Yes.
So why is he so emotional?
I don't know. It doesn't work. It doesn't work with his character.
Because the way they wrote him, he's kind of like...
Is this
like Aladdin?
Is this like emotional, like with everything that's going on in the world today? You can see that it's...
No, it's like he's a mix of the Jafar from Aladdin and then like a mix of like a toddler.
Oh yeah, okay, that makes sense.
he has temper tantrums in this movie.
Yeah,
and we'll talk about
it's like Jafar and Scar, kind of.
Yeah, maybe a little bit like that. Like, "Oh, I'm number 2. I want to be number 1." Like he wants to be Sultan, and he wants to declare war and this and that. But he's got no
alliance teams. Or like alliance cities.
Yeah, I don't know. So Aladdin eventually does get to the door and returns the bracelet, and we see inside Jasmine with her handmaiden Dahlia, who Jasmine has told Aladdin that he is, and they're talking about how she wants to be Sultan, how she could do a better job because she saw all of the suffering of the people of Agrabah. Now, this is my question. Does the fact that Jasmine wants to be Sultan take away from the movie?
Well, at this point, I'm not gonna. It's it didn't take. I didn't take it in until like later on in the movie. It affects the movie quite a bit. I'd say down the road.
See, I thought at this point in the movie when she says she could do a better job if she was in charge, I'm like, wait a minute. That means the Sultan's actually the villain, because the Sultan doesn't care about the people. So maybe Jafar's right. Maybe Jafar should be Sultan.
Oh.
But I'm thinking about, think about it. If the people are suffering, and Jasmine admits that her father's not doing a good job without actually saying that, because she wants to be Sultan, because she could do better than her father, doesn't Jafar have a good motive for wanting to be Sultan?
Yeah. Fair enough. I'd say so. That's an interesting take. I never looked at it that way.
It's pretty different, eh?
Well, that's what I was thinking as soon as I saw it. I'm like, if she's saying that things are horrible, oh, I can't wait till I'm in charge because I'll make things better, that means her father's a bad leader. This isn't like this works in like a Cinderella. Like if Cinderella's like, if I only could be in charge, like I could do things to save the thing, it would make sense because now I met Prince Charming and now I can enact changes. But you're the princess. You should be able to enact changes now. But if your father's not listening to you, clearly you're the bad guy.
Fair enough.
So this movie, at this point, it's not Aladdin's movie. It's Jasmine's movie. It's her. There's not a doubt in my mind after that line that Jasmine was going to be Sultan at the end of this movie. So now it's not Aladdin's movie. It's Jasmine's voyage to becoming Sultan. And Aladdin is now a pawn, a side character. He's a pawn for Jafar, he's a pawn for the Sultan, and he's a pawn for Jasmine. And they're all going to use him to get what they want. So Aladdin's useless to this plot.
And that's the main difference between the original Aladdin and this
Oh,
Aladdin.
wow.
So when that at least that's my 2 cents. That's my take on it. So when Jasmine answers the door, she pretends to be the handmaiden. Aladdin gives back the bracelet, and then he takes her like a headpiece, like what do you?
Yeah.
And says that I'll give this back to you tomorrow. I promise. And then he gets himself arrested by Jafar.
Classic thief.
So now we get introduced a little bit to Jafar's kind of relationship with Aladdin. And this is very similar from the original, except for Jafar's himself and not an old man. And he tells Aladdin that it's the princess you're speaking to, not the handmaiden. And Aladdin's like, oh, I guess I can never be with her. And she's like, but I can make you rich. If you listen to me, you can, help. You can help yourself. I used to be like you. And he steals like the headpiece from him to show that he's just a thief too. So he was just a thief and a street rat himself. And he worked himself out to be the second most powerful person in Agrabah. So all you have to do is give me the lamp. And Aladdin's like, okay, I'll get all this riches. I have to give you a lamp. Perfect. So he goes into the Cave of Wonders. He was told not to touch anything but the lamp. He saves the carpet, which I personally really like. In the original, the carpet kind of like plays with Abu and like toys with them.
Yeah.
In this one, he's kind of stuck under a rock, and Aladdin kind of helps him out. To me, it works.
Yeah,
because now it's like, this is why the carpet's so attached to Aladdin, because not because I haven't had a friend in a long time, but because you kind of saved me and I owe you. And then he climbs to get this lamp, and it's like a
parkour.
Oh my!
There's a lot of parkour in this movie.
It's so
Garagey at its best, man.
It's like a 50-foot climb up a straight up rocky thing.
Yeah, but they know if Aladdin can do it.
Do you like this?
Obviously, I'm like, how's anyone going to get that? How would anyone know to get that unless they knew parkour, to be honest? And luckily Aladdin did.
Stupid. I thought it was stupid. And then, as he's climbing, Aladdin kind of like his hand hits the ruby that Abu grabs in the original.
Okay.
And it kind of falls to the ground, and it falls into Abu's hand. So in the original, Abu grabs the ruby that caused everything. This one literally falls into his hand.
And then it's like, what? No, you're trying to steal, bro.
Which I don't understand. Like, how does this how do the touch rules in the Cave of Wonders work?
Yeah,
because he's touching the gold coins everywhere.
Well, it's walking on them.
What's the difference?
Yeah,
he says touch nothing but the lamp.
Yeah, and then they touch. Well,
technically Aladdin touched the ruby first, but that didn't have any problems. What is it, like a 2-second rule? If you touch it for 2 seconds, then it counts.
Maybe it's an attempt to take it.
But how do you know an intent?
Right.
How can the Cave of Wonders know your intent?
Who knows? Well, it just became a law. It's magical, right? It has magical powers.
Oh, boy.
And it talks to you. I think it got a little bit of powers.
Would you admit this is very silly?
I thought it was dumb. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of dumb. I thought it was weird.
Like in the original movie, all the treasure was like there was a path that you had to follow.
Yeah.
The idea was if you like you're supposed to be tempted, right? But the fact that Guy Ritchie put all the treasure all over the floor, well, it's not really your temptation. It's just this is just a cave of treasure.
Yeah.
But in the original, it's here's all the treasure. Come and grab it if you'd like. Like I feel like that was so much better. Anyways, so the cave falls apart. And it's very like the original. The carpet saves Aladdin, saves Abu, takes him to safety. On the way, a rock falls and hits them. He gets thrown to the entrance. Jafar's like, give me the lamp. Help me. Give me the lamp first. And then Aladdin's like, okay, here's the lamp. Jafar kind of pushes him off. Abu grabs the lamp at the last second. And then the Cave of Wonders falls apart. And Jafar's like, no, I lost the lamp.
Forever.
Ever and ever. This time, Aladdin doesn't hit his head, though. He's completely awake. And he rubs the lamp. And when the genie comes and enters, Aladdin has no idea who he is. And Genie's like, where's the guy? Like, the guy that knows what's going on here. The villainous guy that normally would rub the lamp. I like this. Mm-hmm. I think it adds something to the story.
No, it makes sense. Because, like, the character Genie is meant to serve, right? He's the most powerful being, and all he can do is serve. So he's always expecting to serve someone. So I'm not gonna lie, I like that.
But it's not the service; it's the server is supposed to be evil, right? And that makes sense, right? That's why this is based on a fairy tale, right? Aladdin is the difference. Aladdin is the pure of heart guy that's not going to be the traditional person. He's very naive, and I think they do a good job with that. What were your initial thoughts on Will Smith?
I liked him. It was. Me and you talked about this a lot of times, but we needed Will Smith to make it his own. If he tried to be like Robin Williams,
he would fail.
It would not go well. But he went and did it the way he Will Smithed it up.
He used his humor. He played himself. And, Haroon at the end of it said, "I was watching Hitch." Like it's very Will Smithy. And kudos to him. Kudos to the writers for getting that character right. Now you said you didn't like the songs in this. You didn't like "Friend Like Me."
No.
I thought Will Smith did. I thought he hit this one out of the park.
I don't like a lot of Will Smith raps, so that's probably the main reason. I'm not a big fan of his rap songs.
I liked it. I thought it was fairly to the original, and like even when he's singing the song, he hasn't told him he's Aladdin yet. It's like whatever your name is. Like I thought it was like the dialogue really worked with the script they had.
Okay.
So after this, we get the wish rules and the first wish where he tricks the genie, pretends that he was holding the lamp, and he tricks the genie into getting him out of the cave.
Is that pure of heart?
He's not. I don't know. It's not in a malice, so the genie has to get it. But what I really liked about this movie is when he gets out and he tells the genie, "Actually, I still have 3 wishes left." The genie is like he puts like on the screen of like a instant replay. So we actually get to see what Aladdin did. And the genie's like, "Okay, you got me. I see what you did there."
Mm-hmm. No, I like that. That was probably one of my more favorite parts of the scene. That's when I really got sold into the genie.
So after that, we get he wishes to become a prince and officially uses his first wish, and that was very similar to the original. And then we got Prince Ali. I thought this one. See, I like this one too. What did you like about this one?
Not gonna lie, Robin Williams with the impressions, that's what really sold the song. And in this one, like, there's not really a lot of impressions.
But he doesn't do the impressions. Everyone else sings it, right? Yeah. And I think that adds to it.
And I like the Robin Williams part more. Mine just, personally, I like that more than just having a bunch of, like, choirs singing it in the background. instead of him doing the impersonations was made the song so good in my opinion.
That's true. I'm not going to dispute you there. I just thought it was done because it was done differently doesn't mean it's done bad. It
was good, but not as good as the original.
The original songs are always the better songs. I'm not going to dispute that, but it was a good song. Like, it was well done for the movie they were making. The song hit the mark.
Okay, I'll give you that.
So then it's time to woo Jasmine, and it doesn't go good for our good friend Prince Ali. He keeps talking about jam and how he's bringing jam. And then Jasmine's like, what do you want to do? I've come to buy you. I mean, I didn't mean to say that. I mean, she's like, do you think you can buy me? Yes. I mean, no. It's you could see he's out of place. And it was very well written.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably one of the better scenes in the entire film. Top 5 scene.
Yeah, no,
film so far.
It is. We have a party that night where Aladdin is very nervous and the genie's kind of forcing him to go talk to Jasmine, but he's got like confidence issues, right? He doesn't think he's worthy enough for being just Aladdin, so he has to be this fake Prince Ali. But like in the original, the genie's telling him, be yourself. He doesn't actually go in a bumblebee like in the original, but be yourself. And while this is all going on, Genie's kind of falling for the handmaiden Dahlia. And they're together, and we get this big, huge dance sequence where the genie dances for Aladdin, because Aladdin doesn't know how to dance. And he goes a little crazy, and Jasmine sees him for like this, he's completely into himself, and she decides to leave. So that takes us to the movie where Aladdin goes to Jasmine's quarters and apologizes for everything, and she's like, leave, and he jumps out the window. And he's on a magic carpet, and like, would you want to come with me, and I'll show you the whole world? And we get a whole new world scene. And like much of this movie, I was very underwhelmed with this song. I thought this is the worst song of the film.
Well, I thought this was my favorite song of the film.
Really? What did you like about this song?
I liked it. I was like, oh man, this is the one song they did well.
What did they do well with this song? It felt shorter than the original.
The original is like 2 minutes and something.
I know this is like a minute of the movie.
Yeah,
and they literally just flew around Agrabah for a second. Like in the original, they go to like Greece and Egypt, and they end in China. Like he didn't show her anything.
No, he showed her.
They went to Africa. World. They went to Africa. They went to like Victoria Falls and things like that. But like it was underwhelming.
I don't know, maybe because I really like the song.
I love the song.
It sounded good in that one.
It did.
I guess my problem. I'll tell you. My problem is more. It's the classic. The song didn't sound as similar as the original, so I guess that was my issue with it. Now I'm starting to realize why I didn't like the music as well. And this one sounded the most like the original one.
But what I found with a lot of the songs, other than the 2 Will Smith songs, they didn't match them. The lyrics did not match what was going on. Whereas in the original movie, the lyrics matched what was going on. And it wasn't happening on this one. So anyways, when they get back, Jafar takes Aladdin, knocks him into the water like in the original, and we get the second wish scene where he like kind of rubs the lamp, and Genie's gotta be like, I can't give you another freebie, so sign this contract. We're gonna post date it a day early. And then Aladdin thanks him. Jafar then tries to manipulate the Sultan by saying that, oh, Prince Ali, he's coming to declare war on you. We need to declare war first.
Yeah.
And then it's Jasmine who exposes him as, look, Ali's here. Jafar is a lying traitor. And Jafar tries to use the staff. And you remember in the first movie, like, he uses the staff to manipulate the Sultan?
Right.
There are 4 occasions where he tries to use the staff in this movie, and all 4 fail miserably. Yeah. I found the staff worthless.
Well, until... What?
No, it never worked.
It was just there.
It was just there. Yeah. So like at the beginning, he's like trying to manipulate the Sultan, and Jasmine walks in and is like, wait, what are you doing? You can't declare war on my mother's town. Yeah. And like the Sultan's like, I would never do that. Mm-hmm. And then the second time, it's like he tries to do it to Aladdin, and like the genie's like, nope, none of that. Yeah. And like maybe this is the third time, and then he tries to do it to like the Sultan. Where in the original movie, he's successful in doing it. Yeah, but again, this shows Jafar as incompetent, emotional, not calculated at all. He's just riding by the seat of his
does it
pants.
in front of people like nothing.
Yeah. And so as he's doing it, Aladdin catches it, and like in the original, he smashes it together, and Jafar gets arrested and thrown into the dungeon. And no one guards him.
And his parrot comes and says,
Is this not like stupid, or is it just me?
Yeah, everyone's like, he's in jail, he's not getting out. I forgot he had a parrot.
Yeah.
He's always with. Where's the parrot? Oh, it's not there. I'll probably just left it alone. And then...
Stupid. So Aladdin's going to try to come clean at this point and be like, I am actually Aladdin and not a prince. But the Sultan and Jasmine are like, oh, you're such an honorable person. You have such integrity. And it's like, I guess I can't tell you anymore. So he goes back to his room and has this fight with the genie. I can't set you free right now because I need your help. And Genie's like, oh, I'm not talking to you. And he goes back into his lamp. And Aladdin goes back to his actual home. And on the way, Jafar steals the lamp because we know he's a thief.
Yeah.
And Aladdin realizes, you know what? No, I need to come clean now. Like in the original, right? He goes to come clean, and then they announce the wedding. But he's too late when he realizes it. Jafar has now wished to become Sultan. And the guards are initially on his side until Jasmine is taken away. And as she's taken away, she sings this wonderful ballad about feminism. And I question, what is the point of this song? It's not even like it's not happening in the real world. It's happening in her head.
Yeah, it's happening in her head, and then she just turns around and runs back and changes the guy's mind.
Yeah. Oh, Hakeem, you started it as like a gatekeeper, and now you're like the head of the guard. Are you really going to turn against my father? You're right, Jasmine. And all of the guards decide to take their side. And this shows her leadership to the Sultan that, oh yes, I'm a horrible leader. You're going to be in charge when I get at the end of the movie. And then Jafar makes a second wish to be the greatest sorcerer. And then Jafar apparently changes his whole tune. He's going to kill the Sultan unless Jasmine became his husband. Why? In the original movie, it's from the beginning, right? Iago puts that idea into Jafar's head, right? Marry
Sultan.
the doll, marry her, you'll become Sultan. In this case, it's just like, I feel like I got to move the plot forward because the original says that Jafar needs to marry Jasmine, so we need to do that. Isn't that how you felt about it?
I didn't like this whole... The third act is the weakest act of the entire movie.
I just said, where did this come from?
Isn't that supposed to be the best act?
Yes. Yeah. It is supposed to be the most important
when the
thing.
third act is the worst act, it's
So
not good for a movie.
Aladdin tries to steal the lamp, and then Jafar catches him. He's sent to the ends of the world. The genie kind of manipulates the carpet to go help him. And then, we get to the wedding sequence between Jasmine and Jafar. And just before that Jasmine can say I do, Aladdin returns. Jasmine steals the lamp from Jafar. And there's this huge carpet chase where the carpet is flying and Iago gets turned into this huge bird. And it's very underwhelming. I felt it a very underwhelming chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to be an upcoming ride at Disney World?
Well, I hope not, because it would be very bad. Anyway, Jafar gets the lamp back. He's going to kill everyone, but then, like in the original, Aladdin tricks him into wishing he was a genie. Then he gets stuck into his lamp. The genie flings him away. And I just, and that's kind of it for Jafar. Did you like this rendition? I thought Jafar got the worst end of the stick in this movie.
Yeah, well, we spoke about it earlier. He just was, he was just a 12-year-old. Well,
An emotional crybaby.
Yeah. Emotional crybaby that wanted power.
Yeah, but we don't even know his reason for wanting power.
Yeah.
Because if his reason is the Sultan is, as he said, the Sultan is horrible, aren't you kind of on his side?
Yeah.
Because Jasmine's on his side. This Sultan can't lead.
Doesn't make any sense.
And he wants to go to war with Jasmine's mom's city. I don't understand why. He keeps saying, we're going to war with Jasmine's mom's city.
Yeah.
But why?
Nothing's really explained. None of the characters are properly fleshed out.
No, they're not.
Except for Jasmine.
I just don't like the cooling. This Disney villain is one of the best villains because of how he's calculated. They just don't do him justice.
It's just It just sounds confusing.
It is. It is.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, we're pretty much at the ending. So Aladdin then apologizes to Jasmine. I'm sorry. You don't deserve me. And then he makes his last wish. for the genie to be free. The genie becomes, I don't know, I would assume a human.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We don't know if he still has his magical powers. Well, we don't know, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he gets together with Dahlia. Aladdin leaves. And Jasmine, who has become Sultan, because apparently the Sultan can't do a good job at it, he tells Aladdin, "Where are you going? Your Sultan demands you to give back that hairpiece." And then they kiss. They have a wedding. They do a dance. And we get the end of the movie. Were you satisfied with this ending?
Well, where they got married? I mean...
It's fairly similar to the original, except for Aladdin would become Sultan and not Jasmine.
I mean, I guess he's kind of maybe they're dual sultans. You know, like they're doing a half and half type of thing. So I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I was okay. I wasn't satisfied, but I was okay with the ending. Like, I mean, they got together, and that's the movie they wrote. They wrote Jasmine to become Sultan.
The original movie is about believing in yourself, finding just like you don't have to always be someone that you're not. It's about being yourself, exactly. Right? This one's more.
But I think it's even that's a one theme. But I always thought like it's Aladdin's story from rags to riches. Like he went from being like a street rat to becoming Sultan. It's his story. Whereas it's like the opposite of Cinderella. She went from being like a handmaiden, horribly treated, to becoming queen. Like it's supposed to be this is the opposite of Cinderella. It's Aladdin's story into this. But and maybe it's the era that we live in. Like I'm all for strong female characters. Like I would, if this was Cinderella or Snow White or Sleeping Beauty, like I'd be arguing for my princesses because it's their movies. But this is Aladdin's movie, and they don't do him justice.
So they made it more about her.
They made it. It's her movie.
So Guy Ritchie basically made the Me Too movement into Aladdin.
Yes.
Right? That's what it sounds like to me, guys.
That's about right.
It's pretty much.
And nothing. I'm not against Me Too movement, but
not at all. I'm entirely.
They gotta follow. He's following a trend, right?
If you were even talking, we on the podcast about 2 months ago, we did on the basis of sex, the Ruth Bader Ginsburg story, and my criticism is that she wasn't strong enough. Like I want strong women characters. Right. I love strong women characters, but not in this is Aladdin's movie. And if you're gonna stick with it, if you're gonna have him in the movie, I think you gotta keep the story similar a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta keep it the same.
There could be movies where
Aladdin, if it's not even really about.
There could be movies where the women are weak characters. Like they don't always have to be strong. Yeah. They can be some strong weak female characters too.
Right.
I other than Jafar, I thought the Sultan was not used correctly. I think I've explained why. What were your thoughts on Aladdin? Like the character, the actor who played him.
Like I said earlier, it's pretty much just he's always just, I don't know, it's just like he's a pawn for everyone. Like that's the way kind of viewed, right? He's not utilized in how he is in the original, right? He's not quick thinking, he's not on his feet.
No.
He's just kind of
He's not
going with the flow.
Yeah, and I really didn't like that. Like this movie was about him being a thief, and yes, he was a thief in the original. No one's doubting that. But he was so much more, and that's what the whole movie was about. How he was more than a thief. That he only stole for the only thing I think he steals in the original movie is like the watermelon and the bread.
Yeah,
I think that's it. In this movie, he steals no food. He only steals jewelry.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's a big thing to that. And he's a static character. I don't think he grows. Jasmine's the dynamic character in this film. Mm-hmm. And I just think that the actor, Mena, he's missing something to be Aladdin. Like, Haroon and I were watching the last sequence because I was trying to explain to him, like, it was the same kind of ending as the original. And there's just a look that Aladdin gives you, like that little, like, sweet, innocent look that he was missing.
Yeah. It's hard. Sometimes the casting doesn't always hit the mark, you know, a la DC.
Yeah, this is not what I expect from Disney. Mm-hmm. All right, last question before we do our ratings. Do you think that Guy Ritchie was the best choice to direct this film?
No.
He's never done a musical before. Angelo, do you want to?
Yeah, listen, I love Guy Ritchie, man.
Same. I love Guy Ritchie too.
I think they needed a guy quick to do this movie. This is what it sounds like. And Guy Ritchie is good with action. movies, and that's maybe why they picked him. But I wouldn't have picked Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, but even like how he shoots his films, like Snatch or Man from U.N.C.L.E. or Sherlock, the way
Right.
like that kind of filmmaking, it doesn't work for a musical. It doesn't work for Aladdin.
It wouldn't work for it.
And
no.
again, love Guy Ritchie, but he's not. I don't think he's the right choice. And I think
he's not the answer for this.
yeah. Okay, what's your rating of it, Xavier?
I want to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
6.5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10
Oh.
because of nostalgia. It's really a 5. If there was no Aladdin, it would be a 5. But you can't mess up the music. You can't mess up like the essence of they kept the story the same. They just like the original movie's a 10. Like the bare bones of the original movie are in this film. So I will give it a 7 for nostalgia, but as a movie, it's a 5.
Fair enough.
I haven't even seen the movie, and I'm gonna give it a 6.2.
Sounds like a good rating. Sounds like a good rating. All right, let's move on to Brightburn. All right, Xavier, start with our opening thoughts of Brightburn.
All right, Brightburn. I was interested in this. I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to see an interesting take on us. We'll call it Superman. The acting wasn't the greatest. The choices, there's a lot of holes in this movie. So for me, I like it in terms of like it's gonna be a guilty pleasure movie for me in terms of like the underworlds. I really like the underworld movies, even though I know they're terrible, but I love them. So it's what I think it's Brightburn's gonna be in that category, and I feel bad, but I kind of hope there's a sequel.
Angelo, are you a Superman fan?
I am a Superman fan. Yes.
Superman is my favorite fictional character. Like I love him because to me, anyone can play a villain. Anyone can be like the Iron Man or the Batman, the self-righteous person. But to be like the moral high ground character in a world where I think humans are by nature selfish. To be pure of heart, to be completely unselfish is so hard to do, and it's so unrealistic. Which is why I really admire them. My opening thoughts are simple. This is the bastardization of Superman. That's what I watched. I spent an hour and 29 minutes watching the bastardization of Superman. And listen, it comes back to a lot of I've recently with Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman and Justice League seen my favorite character be turned already into a villain, the good version of him.
Right.
And now I'm sitting here watching what if Superman was bad. I mean, don't get me wrong. Full marks for the concept. It's actually really interesting and kind of original in that thought process. But it does nothing with this concept. There is nothing good about this. It is a poor slasher movie with a Michael Myers killing people. It's what it is. Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees just going around killing people. Because that's all this movie is. Cool death sequences. There's no plot. The characters are horribly developed. And they ruin this actually very interesting concept. And I'm just frustrated. Can somebody out there please make me just a good Superman movie where he's the good guy? I want to see Superman like Captain America has done on Marvel. That's all I'm asking for. Is that too much to ask?
Yeah. In this day and age.
I totally thought this movie would be something different, and you guys totally told me. Like, I was just like, "What? It's that type of movie?"
Yeah, he's Michael Myers.
Oh, this is
Jason
insane.
Voorhees. Actually, more Michael Myers. He wears the mask on his
Where's
face.
that mask? What's the one from Hellraiser with all the nails in his head?
Hellraiser? Oh, Pinhead.
Pinhead. Yeah, probably Pinhead.
All right, let's deep dive. This shouldn't take a lot of time to deep dive into. So we had this intro. Parents, like Superman, can't have a kid. And a spaceship crashes to Earth. There's a baby in it. They decide to keep him. There's some baby videos. Then we get to 10 years later. He's 12 years old, or just about to. Mom and him are playing hide and go seek. And then we find out he's a genius. He's in the top 0.1% in school.
Top 0.1%.
Yes, something like that. He's like the smartest kid ever.
He's in the 1% of the 1%ers.
I have something to say with that. Anyway, the night before his 12th birthday, his ship starts talking to him. And they basically says, we find out he's saying the same 3 words over and over again. Those words are, take the world.
Yeah, take the world, take the world.
How did you feel about the ship turning him into a villain?
Well, Who's to say the ship turned him into a villain? Maybe he was a villain the whole time.
Oh my god, this shit, no,
Yeah,
that's what it is. Come on. I want to know what your thoughts on this are.
Honestly, I mean, it's not terrible. Like, I mean, the main reason why Superman is who he is because the Kents are good people.
Exactly. So if you're going to change the concept, make him being bullied, which turns him into a villain. Make him show the actual human traits that make him into a villain. This is pure cheating. This isn't the concept I was promised. I was promised, what if Superman was bad? Not what if his race told him to conquer the planet. I want to see a slow progression to it. Not one day he wakes up and talks to this ship in the ground and be like, take the world? Oh, I'm a god, I should be taking the world. We kind of see elements of bullying in this movie. We see elements of him being treated differently. But we never deep dive into it.
That's true.
It's cheating. We were cheated of a good story with this.
Fair enough. I wasn't that upset about the ship to making him kill people. I mean, he's an alien race, and you don't know how he's programmed. He's not from Earth. So
He's programmed. What is he, a machine? Programmed?
He could be.
He's not a machine. He bleeds.
He's an alien. We don't know what planet he's from and how they operate.
He's not a machine. He's not programmed.
Was he 12 years old?
He's 12.
So maybe he was the ship was talking to him, and he was going through puberty.
That's what
he
I
didn't
was
know
thinking.
what to do.
I think that's exactly what it is. But right? I think it's a cheating ploy.
Ships and puberty.
I think it's a cheap ploy. I think it's better to use the puberty, but use the human elements, right? The whole idea of nature and nurture, what Superman deals with is, Superman is a god on Earth, but the Kents turn him good. So what happens if the Kents couldn't keep him good? Like, I think they do a really good job with the... In this movie, they're not called the Kents because it is not actually Superman. They're the Briars. But the Briars, you can see they're afraid of him, right? Or specifically the dad. So what about if they were some of the cause of his turning to this villainy, right? Maybe it wasn't... What happens if... I always thought it was... When I heard of the concept of this movie, I thought that the Briars characters were going to push him away to push him into villainy. Like, that to me would be better.
That would be better.
I know it's better. I feel we were cheated of that. We just got, he's supposed to be bad because he was programmed. And for those of you who are listening, I just air quoted programmed because that's Xavier's words. To be bad. Like, then it's like, he wasn't bad at all. He was always going to be bad. He was destined to be bad. I wanted him to turn. I wanted you to break him. If you're going to at least make him bad, do it right. Like, I don't even like the concept of this movie, but do it right if you're going to do it.
Like, puberty would break him, I think.
Yeah, I think.
He was just,
Well, I think there's one real reason that he went off the edge. And it's something that we as men have all experienced.
Heartbreak.
Rejection.
He wasn't rejected.
Yeah, he did.
When was he rejected?
By that girl.
He wasn't rejected by that girl. He was stalking that girl.
Yeah, well, we all learn. Well, most people learn not to do that, but like when you're in love, you will think you're in love. You do some crazy things.
You might be insinuating something, but there's no proof that happened.
Hold on. What happened? What's going on?
Okay. All right. So there's after he hears this message, he goes into this descent into like a sociopathness.
Yeah.
So he starts to realize that he's strong. So he throws like a lawnmower. He tries to stick his hand into the lawnmower and he breaks it because he can't bleed.
Yeah.
He starts talking back to his parents. He starts seeing how indestructible he is. Then his dad tells him that it's okay to touch your penis. It's word for word. It's word for word what he says.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Yep, they're hunting in the woods, and the dad says you can touch your penis.
Hold on. They're hunting in the woods. He's hunting with the 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the
Kansas. He turns to his kid and goes, "You can touch your penis."
Yeah, you can touch it. He says you can touch it, and then he says penis.
You're missing the scene. So before that, they find papers of him with girls in underwear, and then after that, they see a scene of like body parts and stuff like that. Like he's like looking at the human
anatomy.
Anatomy.
Yeah.
And then after that, his parents are like, we should probably have the talk with him. So they go away, and then he explains.
So this kid's going through hardcore puberty, man.
No. Then he never even asks for it. He's just, Dad's like, you can touch it. He's like, touch what?
Like, sometimes
your penis.
it's okay to go through urges, and you'll have urges through some girls you see on TV, and sometimes girls in class.
Yeah, and you can touch yourself.
Yeah, and then he asks, oh, can I go do it right now? His dad's like, no.
Oh my God.
Anyways, then that night...
You find out what he actually meant, though.
And that night at, like, 1 in the morning, he goes to this girl's house in the window and creeps her out. That's not I'm in love with you. That's not like, will you date me and getting rejected. That's literally, he opened her laptop and played music and was hiding, like, because he could fly at that point. Even though we don't actually officially see him learn how to fly. But he's outside the window, and she's like, closes the laptop, and then she turns around and it's playing music again. And then she puts like a books or something on it so it won't open again. And then she walks over to the window and she sees like a semi-person of her face, and she screams for her mom, and her mom comes in. And then that's Xavier's view of him getting rejected. I don't view that as him getting rejected.
Okay.
Well, not at that point. That's not when he got rejected. Not when she screams for her mom. I'll tell you what.
Okay. Well, then first of all, before I get that, I have a question. At this point, so up until the point where he creeps out this girl, do you think the parents are out of their mind for not looking at all these warning signs?
What was the first? They didn't see the lawnmower thing.
No, they don't see it, but he's starting to disappear, right? He's starting to not be around as much, right?
Yeah.
I think the chickens were already killed at this point too. He killed all the chickens.
No, I don't think he killed the chickens.
That's right after this, right?
Yeah, the chickens die first, and then he kills the lady.
It's
after he breaks the
hand.
You're right.
So at this point, like, you're right. The parents there's no reason to be in denial, right?
Not yet.
Okay.
I'll tell you when they should have.
So then the shit hits the fan. So he's in gym class, and they're playing this trust game where, like, you're supposed to, like, people are supposed to come to you and you're supposed to, like, kind of keep them up, and you kind of going into all of these different things. When it's Brandon's turn, our main character, our Superman character, the girl who he creeped out at night doesn't catch him, lets him fall.
She's like, ew, and moves to the side.
And he's afraid. She's afraid of him because she saw him in his room when it doesn't make any sense how he got into her room, and then he just disappeared. So he didn't want to lift him up, or help him up.
She called him a pervert.
And called him a pervert.
I kind of laughed when she called him that because he was.
Yeah, exactly. He's creepy. So eventually he goes to grab his hand, and instead of lifting himself up, he crushes her hand and then breaks her wrist.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't think that's rejection. Where do you see rejection there?
She called him a pervert.
That's not rejection. You just said he was a pervert. She called him out on his shit.
Just because there's lots of guys that are perverts that slide in.
But in order to be rejected, you have to be like, do you want to come out with me? No, I don't. There was no rejection. Well, it's an insinuation.
Did it slow down at all? Did the what do you call it?
Cinematography?
Cinematography slow down at that point, or no?
I don't think so.
No.
It focused on the hands together, joined, and then breaking. Signified rejection.
The rejection of
because
the bond broke.
Yeah. Yeah. No, because if you don't remember later, in about 10 minutes of screen time, he's gonna give her flowers. So like he does not think of that as a rejection.
Maybe she was helping him up. He said that he's so strong.
No, he definitely did it on purpose.
Oh, he's a devil. He's a devil.
Yeah, he's not a nice person.
He gets suspended for 2 days. And her mom, Caitlin is the girl, her mom, Erica, is really upset, wants Brandon arrested. Does this even make sense?
Yeah, that lady was like... But the funny thing is, they said a line where I was like, okay, I kind of was okay with her freaking out now. She's like, but if it makes you feel better making fun of, like, bad-mouthing a 12-year-old, whatever makes you sleep at night. And then she kind of shut up and was, like, quiet.
Like Erica.
Yeah, Erica. Like, because it didn't make sense. Like, I know your daughter's hand was broken and parents do freak out.
But no 12-year-old can break someone's hand like that with their hand, like grab their wrist and be like.
That'd be a little.
Like, I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger could break someone's hand like that in his prime. Well, maybe like a 12-year-old, but not. Like if I was Caitlin's mom, I would be taking Caitlin to the doctors to make sure her bones were strong. Because how does a 12-year-old break my hand? There's only 2 people in the world that know that he is not from Earth. That might be like, oh, maybe he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
No one else would know that.
Right.
So
at this point, the dad's like, "What the hell's going on, mate? Like, what's going on with my son? He's freaking out."
So after that, he basically kills a bunch of chickens.
Yeah.
And then goes to see Caitlin, who's now like on the laptop typing a project with her opposite hand, and like her hand is like just like out this huge cast. And Brandon comes to see her, like flies into her room, and with a bunch of flowers, and be like, "I'm sorry," kind of thing. She's like, "My mom said I can't talk to you." "Oh, I'll fix that." And then he goes to the diner that she's working at, and it's closed. And as she's cleaning up, all the windows have the symbol. It's a
BB with
it's a forward B and a backwards B that symbolizes.
Oh, okay.
I thought it meant Brightburn before the movie started, but it stands for Brandon Breyer.
That's cute.
And she's looking at this light that after she sees all these, she's kind of nervous, and she looks at this light that's kind of shaking, and the light breaks, and the piece of glass goes into her eye. Again, interesting sequence.
Scene too hard though.
Interesting sequence. She has to rip the glass out of her eye, and then the one really cool thing is the camera angle they show from her perspective, so it's like blood red on one side because it probably didn't hit her her like retina, so it probably just like hit like she probably gets to see out of it. And then the other eye she can see, so it's like half
bloody. You keep seeing it in the bloody eye.
Yeah, is that the shaky part? Then he goes boom, flies.
Yeah, you see.
So it's a very interesting camera.
That was a good perspective. I'm not gonna lie, I was very interested.
She hides in the freezer, and then he uses his laser eye and breaks it down, rips the door open, and then she disappears.
Yeah, but that was beforehand. He discovers that he's an alien too. When he gives the flowers. He freaks out and he's told he's an alien.
No, that was way earlier.
No, that was right before he gives the flowers, right? His mother freaks out, and then that's when he has "I hate this place, you're all liars." Then he burns, and then he flies over to give the flowers to the
Oh, yeah, sorry,
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I think like before he goes to see her, he realizes he's an alien. But at this point, he already figured out, take the Earth, right?
Yeah.
Take the world. So then, because he got suspended, he was told he had to go see a therapist, which is his aunt. And his aunt basically tells him, like, "Do you feel bad?" And he's like, "No, I don't feel bad."
Sometimes bad things have to happen to people.
Now, I just have a question for you.
That's what he says.
I just have a question for you. This guy is the smartest of the smart. Wouldn't he be smart enough to realize if I just say that I'm remorseful, that I can get away with this and things can go back to normal? Because that's what he wanted. He just wanted things to go back to normal because he knows that he's going to grow old and take the Earth. Like, that's the message he has.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not too smart. His excuses for why he, for when he goes away is the worst, right? I'll explain, like, at that one point.
Which is why it doesn't make any sense. He's supposed to be a smart kid. You created a character that's supposed to be brilliant, but yet you don't make him brilliant.
Yeah, no, he wasn't this.
It sounds like they still played off a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to make this kid be brilliant, but they're still trying to make him a 12-year-old kid, and it doesn't really work.
Yeah,
you're one or the other.
Yeah, you can't
right?
you gotta pick. You can't pick and choose.
Yeah,
and this is again no character development.
And he's not just brilliant. He's like one of the most brilliant of the brilliant.
Yeah, he's like a Sheldon Cooper. Like he's supposed to be like he's a 12-year-old that's probably at a university level.
Yeah.
So he goes that night to go see his aunt. He plays little tricks on the aunt and like, I'm in the backyard, now I'm not in the backyard, knocks on her door, and the aunt's kind of freaked out by him because he's not remorseful, and she's starting to realize he's a sociopath. Like, you go home. Go home. So he sneaks into the house, and as she's sleeping is going to, kill her. But the uncle kind of comes in at the last second, so Uncle Noah catches him in his room, and he's like, "What the hell are you doing in my room? Get out of here." And he drags him into the car and says, "Get in the car." And he's like, "No." and then he gives him like a backhand that throws him right through, like almost through the garage.
Yeah, he hits the garage and it shakes, and then he falls down on the floor. And then I think this is a dumb idea, but
I think it's a fine idea. He jumps in the car and tries to drive away.
yeah,
Xavier's like, why didn't you go into the house? Because did you see that backhand? If you can hit you that hard, you can break down a door.
yeah. Well,
But you don't know how fast
car.
Yeah, but you don't. If you drive away, you don't know he's extremely fast.
That's true.
You're going again under the assumption that he's fast because you know this.
No. I just figured, in my opinion, I would probably just go back in the house and like call someone or get help. Me, I'd just try to. Get
I
help.
would drive away as fast as I can because I don't think he's the road runner. I don't think he can catch me. Yeah. But anyway, he can fly and he can hit and he knocks the car, like he breaks the engine and he's kind of just sitting there. And then Brandon grabs the back of the car, lifts it all the way up, and then what it's probably 30 feet in the air, drops it. And the way it hits the uncle's face hits the steering wheel and his jaw breaks off. But he's still alive, so you kind of see he's trying to hold his jaw in place. Again, really interesting sequence, but a slasher movie.
Oof. I'm not gonna lie, the death scenes are amazing in this.
But this is why it's a slasher movie. It was a great sequence. We can both agree upon that.
Yeah.
So he goes home, and his parents are like, "Where have you been?" I was playing soccer, and the guys were really mean to me, and I had to walk home. Yeah.
Yeah, it does not take you that long to walk. I don't know where he was. I don't know how large this city is.
That's a lie and a half, eh?
So that night 10. They find out that the uncle has died, and the dad's fully on board with his kid is responsible.
Yeah,
and the dad confronts Brandon, and Brandon gives him a little whack through like a cupboard.
Yeah,
or a bunch of shelves, and then the dad's like, I'm okay. Like, I'm not doing anything. And go to your room. And then he goes to take a shower and, like, nothing happened.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
And the dad literally, the dad sneaking through the room and finding, like, he finds, like, the shirt with all the blood on it.
How did he get all the blood on his shirt? Because he didn't even just touch the uncle like that.
I don't know. He had blood on he had the blood on the finger. Maybe he wiped the blood on the shirt.
Yeah, but it was covered like he murdered the hell out of it.
I don't know.
Again,
doesn't make any sense. So what I don't understand is why didn't Brandon just incinerate the shirt either? He has heat vision. Why didn't he just be like, he brings the shirt, like he comes home, he's like no shirt on, backpack.
He's book smart, but he's not street smart.
Maybe that's what it is.
He's not street smart.
Maybe that's what it is.
He's not street smart. He's not even book smart either. He only knows about bees and wasps. To be honest, that's the only thing we know about it.
Now, it's funny because he decides, like the dad's like, okay, I'm going to take my kid camping because the mom is still, Brandon's innocent. He can do no wrong.
Right.
She decides to take him camping, and while they're hunting, he decides to kill him. He shoots him in the back of the head. At the same time, the mom realizes that Brandon actually is killing everyone. It's not the dumbest idea. You don't know how strong he is.
I don't know. I figured I'm not going to shoot him in the back of the head.
That's the best way to kill. Like we don't know he's bulletproof. Well, we do. The parents don't. Remember, you said it yourself. All of this strength was happening around when the parents weren't there.
That's true.
So what do they know about this kid? In fact, the dad said, like the mom's like, how would he do this? And then the dad's like, we don't know what he's capable of. We don't know what he is. Like they don't know anything.
I mean, I would just tend to do my research before I try to kill somebody that.
You figure a gunshot to the back of the head is the most true way to kill someone.
That's true.
And what happens?
It doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything, and the kid just looks at the dad
like what,
and then plays with him a little bit, and then uses heat vision to blow off his head.
Yeah.
And then the mom calls the dad to see like what's going on, and be like, the dad quote unquote picks up the phone, and the mom's like, "Oh my God, he did kill Uncle Noah. He did do it. Completely did it." Hello? And then Brandon's like, "Hello, Mother." "Brandon, where are you?" I'm home, and he's like floating above the house. And then he kind of like flies into the house, scaring the mom. She calls the police. The police show up.
Threw out the windows and all that.
The police show up, and again, really cool death scene. The sheriff, he's like standing there, and then like Brandon flies him right through like a pillar, and he just breaks completely up.
He just pretty much splats like he's paced. Yeah.
The other police officer gets like thrown up and down, like beaten to a bloody pulp, and then gets thrown into the room.
And you see it in the background, like she's hiding underneath the bed, and you see the other police officer getting up and down in the doorway and then thrown into the window.
So, is there blood everywhere? Or?
Yeah, it's very bloody. I think it's rated R.
I think so.
There's a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah, I think so. So the mom is able to get back into the barn where the spaceship is, because we do find out that the spaceship can breach his skin, and she grabs a piece of it, and we find that Erica is there, and he's been doing experiments on her.
Yeah, it was freaking gross.
And then they do their little whistle game again, their hide and seek game, and then Brandon shows up, and the mom's like, you always will be my little boy, and she goes to hug him, and I thought. What did you think was going to happen? Did you think
he's going to kill him?
You thought that? I thought we were going to be disappointed with another. We'll do another spoiler alert here for those of you who haven't seen Game of Thrones. I was expecting another Game of Thrones here.
Oh, where which ending for Game of Thrones?
Where Jon's hugging Daenerys and then stabs her.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking was going to happen. But thankfully, Brandon is onto this, stops the knife. And then
because she's an idiot. She did it from up here. She should have did it from
like Jon Snow did. Just
from the front. Foolish mistake.
Thankfully, he flies her through the atmosphere and then just drops her from like airplane height. Yeah. And then he sees an airplane, breaks it into the house, and then we get the news report that all of the death happened because an airplane crashed there.
I'm not gonna lie, this confirms something that happens in Batman vs Superman. A lot of fans were trying to confirm, like, hey, Superman, you remember that one scene where the guy is holding the gun to Lois Lane's head and Superman punches him through like 5 brick walls, and then he's like, I didn't kill anybody. And a lot of fans are like, no, he didn't kill anybody. But this movie confirms it, because she went through one wooden rooftop and her face was mangled,
but she didn't die from it.
She didn't die, yeah, but this guy went through 5.
Oh,
so
yeah,
the
absolutely.
other guy was dead, but like this girl, she was mangled after that, so
you're absolutely right. So then we get the ending, and Michael Rooker, he's a news reporter talking about how this Brightburn kid is mashing up and destroying things. And then to go along with it, we get Dark Aquaman and Dark Wonder Woman that are doing their own things in their own little world. Yeah, the Wonder Woman is strangling people with a lasso of truth, and Aquaman's killing people in the water.
Yeah.
It shows this?
Just news clippings.
Saying it's happening and stuff like.
Now, that's interesting.
My main question: were we cheated by this premise? Were we cheated in this movie?
I know you feel cheated. I don't feel cheated. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty funny.
It's a slasher movie. I didn't want a slasher movie. Why did you make this a horror movie? This could have been a great drama. It's could have been a brilliant drama. You could have still killed people. You could have still made it rated R. Just have a story with it. Like, you don't think this movie could have been much better? You don't think this movie, the concept was there for like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I agree. It could have been much better. Like I said, this is the Underworld for me. Like, I know this is bad, but I still.
But Underworld can't be good. Underworld is just a stupid concept that you enjoy.
It's not a stupid concept.
It was a good movie.
It was. I like it too.
First and second, and then it just got crazy.
I agree with you. It's a good movie, but it can't be great. It doesn't have the potential to be great. This movie could have been great. The story was there for it to be great. They don't you don't think you can wrote a better movie than this?
I don't know how to write.
I thought hearing about this, it was going to be about Superman when he was a child and how he started to become evil and then found the light. That's what I thought this movie was originally about, guys.
Yeah, looking for a redemption, like Hercules murdering his family and then needs to go do the 12...
not even murdering his family. I thought it was about him growing up and going through all this stuff and getting all his powers and then using them for bad, and then his parents and everybody
helped him to use it
to good. That's what I thought this was about. And this is just blowing my mind right now.
I would have chosen a different genre. I don't like horror. I don't think horror was right for this movie.
Yeah, I probably agree, but I still enjoyed it, and I'm not gonna lie, it was just some of the dialogue was funny. I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. It just it spoke to me.
What genre would you have chosen for this movie?
I would put this action adventure, cause that's the best genre, with a mob twist.
Yeah, I was gonna say all your favorite movies are not action movies. They're all dramas. They're gangster movies are mafia movies are dramas.
Yeah.
So
that's why I said a mob twist at the end.
Yeah, Lex Luthor really being the good guy?
Yeah.
Like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman, sorry?
Was he the good guy?
Yeah, 100%.
He blew up an entire Senate.
To try to kill Superman because Superman was the villain.
Yeah, but Superman was really the good guy because
Nope.
he sacrificed himself for the people.
Yes, but it doesn't make any sense. Because the vision that Batman had in that movie was that Superman would become villainous, and then when he woke up, the Flash came and said, "You were right about him! Find Lois Lane!" So Superman is eventually going to become bad in that universe because...
No, he's not, because they saved Lois Lane. She was supposed to die in that Doomsday fight.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the...
You brought it up, sir.
What?
Next, they're gonna fight. Stay tuned.
All right,
You
Xavier,
bring it up, I serve it down.
do either of you have any other questions about this movie, this film?
No.
I'm gonna go see it still. I'm seeing it. I don't care what you guys think about it. I'm gonna go see it.
I
My philosophy, Angelo, is
think
every
it's-
movie is worth watching at least once.
That's right.
Every movie, even if it's the worst movie ever, like Batman vs Superman
I thought it was Power Rangers.
or Power Rangers.
The original Power Rangers?
No, the one that came out like last year, 2 years ago, whenever.
Yeah.
The one I almost walked out of. I've never walked out of a theater. I was halfway through the door in that movie.
Listen, I saw Transformers with the first Transformers with what's his name?
Oh,
Shia
Mark Wahlberg.
No, Mark
Oh,
Wahlberg.
the Mark Wahlberg.
They got worse and
3 and a
worse.
half. Oh, it was
They got
terrible.
worse and worse. The last one was even
walked
worse.
I can't even like.
I will
the
walk-
dinosaurs and stuff. Come on.
Yeah,
You can't-
the one after that was worse. Oh,
Yeah,
the
those
last
were
night.
terrible.
Oh my god. Anyway,
That's funny because that's also on our unwatchable.
yeah,
list, so.
we any movie I give 2 or less to, or I call unwatchable. Those are under. Only the first 3 would make it. No, the first 2 would make it past the unwatchable.
Yeah.
They'd be watchable. The other ones are not. Xavier, do you have any other questions with this movie?
No.
All right, what rating are you gonna give
I'm gonna
it?
give it a 7 out of 10. I really like the death scenes in this. I like the. I'm not gonna lie. I like the conversations between the husband and the wife. Whenever the husband tried to bring up the kid was crazy, it's just funny seeing how hysterical the wife would get him. Like, no, he's not crazy. He didn't rip the door off. The wolf did that. Like, how the hell does a wolf pull a door off of its hinges? I don't know. But
Denial.
Yeah, it was great. For me, I liked it.
I'm gonna go 5 out of 10. It's just a slasher movie with idiots for victims with a concept that's not a slasher movie concept. Like, yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say about it. I'm done. I'm done talking about this movie. I was very disappointed. It is the bastardization of Superman. That's what we watched. The bastardization of Superman.
I'm gonna still see it.
Yeah, I'd say go see it.
Okay, let's this week from the vault we're going to the 1987 movie Monster Squad, and this is Angelo's choice. It's I believe one of your favorites.
One of my favorites besides the Goonies. My Goonies is the number 1, but this is my number 2.
Well, we had already done the Goonies. That's the
I
reason
know.
why we didn't do
I
it.
know.
But I gave the Goonies a solid 10 out of 10 because it is one of my favorites. It's classic.
Oh, it's classic, man. Spielberg at his best. That's it.
All right. Would you like to lead us off with your opening thoughts?
Yeah. Okay. So my opening thoughts with this movie is, it's 1987 at its best. Okay. I don't know if you guys were around that time,
I was 2 years old, so I didn't see it live.
but that was when 12-year-olds could smoke cigarettes, and that was pretty badass. So basically, the premise of this movie, it was director and writer Fred Decker, and with I forget the other guy's name. Shane Black from The Predator. They came up with a story of writing a movie about the Universal monsters and what if they came in the 80s, right? The only problem was that Oh, it was that and the Goonies. So they're trying to base it off the Goonies. They're trying to get it with the Goonies. But the only problem with that was that they put it out at a bad time. And unfortunately, it bombed in the theaters. In 1987, I think it made $3 million, and it was a $12 million movie to make.
So you can kind of tell with the effects. The effects were pretty decent.
Yeah, and
for
the time it was really decent. And it opened with against the movie The Lost Boys. I don't know if you guys were familiar with The Lost Boys.
Vampire movie itself, Kiefer Sutherland.
That's right. They opened up the same weekend and they lost, basically. But I want to hear what you guys have to say about this movie, because I love the movie.
Xavier, after you.
I'm not gonna lie, I really, really like this movie. It wasn't. Sometimes I get annoyed when I have to go watch an old movie from the 80s because I don't have the nostalgic goggles for like some other people. But for this one, I was like, oh, this is an interesting concept, because I love Dracula, I love Frankenstein, I love werewolves. Not so into mummies. Mummies are lame. And the fish dude, whatever his name is.
Yeah, right.
No one cares about those guys.
Swamp Thing or the Gill, or I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't care for those characters, but like this
thing from the Black Lagoon. That's
Creature
from the Black Lagoon. That's what it is.
Perfect, awesome. So yeah, I love the concept of those characters. Right, they're fun. Plus, seeing kids' take on it. The thing is, you have to believe the movie, right? If you're sitting there looking at it in a realistic aspect, you're not going to enjoy it. But like, if you believe it, but if it makes it believable, then you can really enjoy it. So I really enjoyed it. The kids were great. Really, really a movie of its time. It's actually a shame that it didn't make the money it did, to be honest. I was like, this is pretty good. Like, this is 80s done well.
80s done very well.
Mm-hmm. You know, I love the 80s. I do. I really do. It's a
nostalgic goggles.
It's nostalgic. This movie was everything. And I hadn't seen this movie live. This was the first time I saw it ever, and I was impressed. I love the 80s kids' journeys movies like The Goonies or The Sandlot or Stand By Me, which is not as comedic. I love seeing the monsters done right. Like, we've been ruined by vampires and their glowing and crystals.
Right.
They all have souls now. I liked it when vampires were bad. Like, call me old-fashioned, but I wanted my vampires bad. The mummies are bad, the werewolves. Like, it was very, very well done. The old school way Dracula looked, right? Like Bela Lugosi from the 1930s, who created that character. I was very content with it. And I love the kids. Like, today you make a kids movie, they're so politically correct. They're so not kids. Man, I'm around kids all the time. Let me tell you something. Kids do not talk like adults do. They talk. They have potty mouths, and they say disgusting, disturbing things. And the 80s got it right. All these movies, they understood how kids talk, and they got kids right. They spoke for a generation. And you know what? This movie was fantastic for that. I will say, though, that I can see why this movie didn't make a lot of money. I not why it was as big of a flop, but it was very rushed. Like, the movie runtime was like an hour and like an hour and 20, I think.
Oh yeah, it's an hour and 22 minutes.
It's not long. It was not.
This is pretty short.
Not long enough at all. We don't get enough. We don't get enough character development. Characters were introduced for a scene, and they don't get developed a little bit more. I think the plot was there, but not enough there. So I would have liked to see a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that as soon as you go back and you start watching it, I've watched this over 300 times. So you have the parents, right? You have that family. They're in jeopardy, right? Father works a lot, right? Yeah. Not giving enough love to his wife, right? You have a lot of that. Then you have Horace. Which is like my favorite character, the fat kid, right? who you see being verbally and physically picked on by his peers, right?
By EJ and Derek, the two bullies.
And Derek. Yeah. And who comes to the rescue? You got Rudy, the badass. The badass.
The Fulton Reed of the group.
Right?
I don't know, for those of you who do not know, that's a Mighty Ducks reference. Watch it.
Yes. There's a lot of stuff actually going on in the movie. It's pretty interesting.
They haven't. I wish they focused on a little bit more.
Right.
Because Rudy kind of comes out of left field, right? I want to join the group, but I don't we don't really get motives for some of these characters, and I think that's a knock on it. To go into a little deep dive of it, the movie begins in the late 1800s, the 1880s, 1887, I would guess, with Van Helsing.
Which is very interesting because that's like
he's the one that hunts all those
that's
guys.
right.
So
Yes,
it's great.
Yes. And did you guys notice that Dracula? When's the first time you saw Dracula? What happens in the beginning of the movie?
He's the bat.
Does he come out of? He doesn't come out of a
coffin.
It's one of the first times that you'll ever see Dracula not come out of a coffin.
Yeah, because before that it would have all been coffin.
Yeah, he
comes
out of a coffin.
Even
He's
after
like,
that, with Bram Stoker's Dracula, he's in the coffin.
Right. Yeah.
But Van Helsing fails to stop Dracula in this film, and he gets stuck into this hole or tornado or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's hell.
Into the amulet. Yep. We don't know what it is, but he gets stuck in there. And then we go back to... Okay, actually, before we do, did you guys like the way they introduced this film?
Oh, yeah. I liked it, yeah.
I did. I like, again, nostalgia to Van Helsing, a nice little shot out there, which is also going to play a role into the movie with the diaries of his, right?
Exactly.
And it's a good choice to start with him.
Yeah.
So that takes us to the present day, where Sean and Patrick are two lead people in our monster squad. They are in this huge monster club. They're in the principal's office because they don't find science interesting. They think science is boring and monsters are the way of the future. And the principal's like, actually, guys, science is the real thing. Monsters are fake.
And it's funny. I love how they really showed how lame the principal was, because that's exactly how every student viewed their teacher or principal.
Right. Yeah. Spot on, man. Spot on.
Yeah. You guys, why do you think the director chose to start the movie with the principal, who we only see this one time? There's not even like an opportunity for him to come back and be like, "Oh my God, Dracula's actually real." So why do you think they chose to start here?
I think they chose. For me, I think they chose not to start because they want to show that no one really believes in monsters anymore. Right? It's science is like. Monsters are all magical and make believe, and science is the future. Science is the answer to everything. So it's kind of like faith versus science type of thing.
Exactly.
Now, do you think that was a mistake not bringing the principal up again sometime in the movie?
It'd be awesome, but I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about the principal.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's. I don't think he's even needed.
No, I liked him, but I would have used him again to show that interact with the monsters. Because I think that's again developing characters.
At the end of it, right?
Yeah.
That would have been
like, so you guys are right.
Yeah,
After
right.
Science sucks.
Exactly, something like that. Or maybe he wants to join the club, something like that. Right?
Yeah,
like
that would have been cool.
There's just more development, I think, that could have been there.
Yeah. So
we meet Horace after this, who is being bullied by EJ and Derek. And he's saved by Rudy, as Angelo said. Now, it's a great scene, but like, could you imagine like showing this on TV, or having this scene today, like the political correctness of our worried and bullying?
They would lose their mind.
They would lose it.
We see F words, fighting, no adult supervision, Rudy smoking,
Snickers. They step on it.
On the step, and then the kid has to eat it.
But what makes this such a great scene is it's realistic.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Like. But showing scenes like this are good for kids too. Be like, wait a minute, I don't want to be EJ and Derek. I want to be nice to him. I want to be Rudy, right? Because that's what you want.
Rudy. I want to be the cool kid that smokes. And
if you make everyone cool and everyone nice to each other, what kids are gonna be like, people aren't like that.
Yeah,
you got to show them both sides. Show them what dicks are like and not wanting to be like that.
This movie had balls.
It did.
And
all the 80s movies did, right?
And like watching as a kid at that time, I was getting picked on. But we'd all think back to this movie and be like, "Well, somebody's gonna help us." It never happened, but yeah, you're right. 100%.
It's so true. And we see this, like, why do you think Stranger Things is so popular? It's right out of the 80s. It's like these movies.
Stranger Things, like, they both are kids that they actually sound like kids.
Exactly.
Right?
100%. So Sean and Patrick are arguing over can the Wolfman drive? You know what, though? Yeah. But again, the real conversations, like, we talk about superheroes the same way. Yeah. Could Captain America really hold Mjolnir and all of that? Like, when when you have source material, when you really geek out, you debate the stupidness of this source material.
Yeah.
I love the Stephen King Rules T-shirt. I don't know if you guys caught that. I imagine you did, Angelo.
Oh yeah, the red.
But that jumped right out at me because you even think like Stephen King is a legend today. Like in 1987, he was still big, but not as big as he's going to become. Like he's huge now. Horace wants Rudy to join the Monsters Club, but they have to test to see if he can join.
They're doing the vote. And that's and Rudy's looking up right to the sister.
Well, the monster test is like they each give him a test, and one of the questions. What was one of the questions about that
they didn't know?
They didn't know the answer to.
Oh, one or two ways to kill a lichen or
werewolf. And they know the one is a silver bullet, and like what's the other one?
Virgin, isn't it something to do with the virgin?
Decapitation, isn't it?
Decapitation.
Is it decapitation?
I never know. I thought it was always silver bullet. I didn't know there was a second way.
I'm sure there's a lot of ways to kill him.
But yeah, vapor.
Yeah, usually you cut his head off.
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty standard on like vampires. Cutting head off kills it too.
Yeah,
that's true.
So, meanwhile, on a plane, we have this coffin.
Yep.
That is got Frankenstein on it and Dracula, and the pilot sees Dracula or this bat, and it's because the World War II bomber is able to eject it, and that's why do you think Dracula showed himself? This early.
Damn, he can kill anybody.
I think just to scare this guy, just to be like,
I'm Dracula. No one's gonna beat me. The guy that can beat me, Van Helsing, he's gone.
That's true.
Yeah, in the 80s, it was all about that scare. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So Dracula will arrive and basically tell or look through the city and say, "It's begun."
Yes, he falls in the swamp.
Yeah.
You have Swamp, the little monster there, whatever.
Swamp thing.
The mummy comes, the werewolf is going to come.
They all come together.
So we're also introduced to Sean's dad, who is a cop. He's played by Stephen Mock. Does that name sound familiar to either of you gentlemen?
It does.
Not me.
Does it?
Nostalgia.
It does sound familiar to me. I know him from something.
Mock is his son. Plays Harvey Specter on this TV show Suits.
Really?
So you might know the Gabriel Mock or
Harvey Specter. Wait, the main
guy in Suits. His actor
Gabriel
name is
Mock.
Gabriel Mock.
So that's his dad.
Stephen Mock is his father, and Stephen Mock is actually on the show as either his father or some kind of like mentor to Harvey Specter. Yeah.
Wow.
So as soon as I saw the credits, I'm like, Stephen Mock. I'm like, is Harvey Specter one of the kids? And I'm like, oh no, it's his father. But yeah,
cool.
That's fun fact.
That is a fun fact.
That is a fun fact, Pooch.
I know. I'm full of fun facts. So he's supposed to go to therapy with his wife because grind of an era. But a 2,000-year-old mummy is stolen. And he gets called into work. At the same time, a guy is comes to the police station saying he's a werewolf and wants to be locked up. And he goes to grab a gun and shoots the roof, but the cops end up shooting him dead.
Shoot me, I'm a werewolf. Come on. Yeah.
He turns into a werewolf in the he comes alive as a werewolf in the ambulance, and
such a good
the mummy walks away on its own, and both they go to Dracula with the Swamp Thing, and they get this crate, which is Frankenstein. They wake up Frankenstein. At what point did you go? You had seen it a lot of times, so you might not be able to remember this. But me and you, we just watched it. What do you think the plan was at this time? Did you have any idea? Like, all these monsters are together. What did you think?
I
the plan
had no
was?
idea what the plan was. Like, were they gonna just take over the earth or kill everybody? No idea. At this point, I was like, I think they're probably gonna take the world over.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was going to be. Something along those lines. I had no idea. Like, I was like, this is interesting. Like, what are they planning to do? Mm-hmm. So Sean is the one who kind of figures out that it's Dracula, right? He sees, like, the name, is able to put it together.
Did you, hold on, Fooch, did you notice something about
the name?
Frankenstein. Did you notice how where did they put his...
the bolts on his
right. Where are the bolts usually?
Normally on his neck.
So they had to do that to get around the licensing from Universal.
Oh yeah, because
I did not know that.
There's a fun fact for you.
Angelo's got some fun facts. That's very interesting. Yeah, I did not know that. So Sean figures out Dracula, brings all the friends together, and is going to call it the Monster Squad. tells them that he thinks all monsters are real, the werewolf, the mummy, Dracula, and that it's them that's going to stop them. I like the fact that like, at night, though, like, this is an interesting scene, but completely out of place. That Eugene, the one other kid that we don't really talk about, or like his name is brought up once, wakes up his dad and says there's a monster in his closet.
Oh yeah, I remember that scene.
But the dad, it's the mummy, but the dad doesn't believe him, and the mummy just leaves. Again, it's a cool scene, but it has no, this plot development has no point to the plot.
Yeah.
Like, why did the mummy choose that house to go into?
Because it's just one of the kids, I guess, and they had to just show, like, something.
But at that point, I didn't even know that kid was in the Monster Squad.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, until, like, that.
I don't think anyone does until, like, that scene and then afterwards.
But you're like, oh.
Eugene, yeah. And then father's like, oh, there's this ghost in the closet. Yeah. Yeah.
So we go back to Dracula, and he orders Frankenstein to basically get the diary, right? Go get it by any means necessary, even if you have to kill. So he ends up going to see Phoebe, which is Sean's sister, and they become friends.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by this?
Yeah. No, the little girl, she's sweet. She's charming.
Sweet. And Frankenstein is supposed to be good at heart. Right?
See, I agree with you, but here's my question to you: if this is your first rendition of watching a Frankenstein film,
if it's your first one,
you'd be confused, right?
Of course, you'd be like, "Why didn't you eat the girl, little kid?" You know,
or why did you had one job? But he's going to become friends with everyone because, like, you know, he's good at heart, right? Like, it's the 1930s rendition of Frankenstein that we get in the Universal
Shelley's
Monsters. No, the 1930s. He's
That's
the villain, but Mary Shelley's, he's not a villain in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So Hollywood's kind of early on made him a someone he's not.
Yeah.
But the kids go see and not a name, but this scary German guy.
Scary German.
That's the actual name on the credits.
Guy.
Wow, they didn't even give him an actual name.
No, and he's not even in just this scene.
Like, he's a main character almost.
The scary German guy. Well, did you know his name?
Oh no! Could you imagine, like, in this day and age, if they did like something like that, like scary black guy?
Like, we're not gonna release
this movie's
that.
canceled.
But he translates the book that's in German, the diary. And the kids realize that Dracula is looking for an amulet, and they need to go find a virgin to perform a ceremony, and they're going to use Patrick's sister. Yeah. So did you guys catch the when the scary German guy says that monsters are real? Did you catch why he thought monsters are real?
Oh,
Xavier, did you know?
Because he had the.
The what? The people might.
My bad. He was in the Holocaust.
Yeah, the tattoo. So the monsters were the Germans or the Nazis. Sorry. Anyways, the kids meet Frankenstein, who they bond together, like we said. The next day at school, they do all the prep work. Rudy makes some steaks, some silver bullets. He steals a bow and arrow, and then we get to the night of, where the kids and Frank. They enter the house that Dracula's staying in. But again, why does Dracula tells Frankenstein like they're really good friends? But like, I don't understand why he turns. Like I'm still trying to figure it out. I thought like this was all part of a plan at this point. Like I know Frankenstein's not a bad character, but I didn't get that watching this movie.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think
they seem like old friends, but I think he was like, you know how like. You go into work and then everyone's always like, "Hey, how you doing?" You know, like that, right? Maybe it's like that kind of relationship.
True.
Yeah, it could be. It could
maybe he's just sick of it, sick of his stuff, right?
Yeah.
Sick of like why?
Maybe he doesn't want to kill kids. Maybe
that's where
that's the line drawn.
Draw the line on kids.
So the house ends up falling or collapsing on Frankenstein, and he's presumed dead. And Dracula lures the kids into the amulet room. And now Sean's supposed to be a monster expert here. He sees that the room is covered in crosses. Why does he go get the amulet?
That's a very good question.
Well, he knows that. You got me. Hold on. He knows.
I know, because that's what I was thinking the entire time. This is like a monster expert. Like This is the safest place for this amulet.
Well, I think though he knows that he needs that amulet to take it to the church.
No, he does, but why not? Why even move it?
I think he wants to banish them because Dracula's always going to try and find someone else to remove it. Even if he doesn't take it.
Like that's a possibility.
Yeah, even if he doesn't take it,
he's also
what
a kid.
he'll do, he'll kill them and then get somebody else to do it. He doesn't care. He's Dracula. He's a scumbag. That's not Frankenstein.
I love
He doesn't
Dracula,
draw the line
he's
at
my
killing
fave.
the kids.
So as he gets the amulet, as he's leaving, Dracula grabs him. Horace uses some garlic, and all the kids are able to escape. So they decide we're going to go to the church to read the diary, the.
You missed the most important part of the movie.
What did I miss?
You missed the part where Horace kicks the Wolfman in the nards.
Oh yeah, he kicked the Wolfman in the nards.
That is the most iconic film.
Him in the nards.
Kick him in the nards, kick him in the nards. Wolfman has no nards, just do it. It kicks him, and Wolfman has nards. That's when you're a kid and you realize Wolfman's got balls.
See, I didn't like that. I'm sorry, I don't find that scene as good as you guys do.
Oh,
really?
Man.
They're always arguing about the Wolfman, and they proved one of the arguments.
Yeah, he has balls. I get it, but I just think that it's like if you kick up like a supernatural creature like that, it won't hurt him.
No, it hurt, man. It hurts everybody. He's half man. He's half wolf.
Yeah,
half
but
man.
when he's a wolf, I don't know. Maybe
I bet you if you kicked the wolf in the nuts, it'd get hurt too.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know. I'm not.
We should test this theory.
Let's go find a wolf and go kick it. Xavier, I'll let you do it. I'll stand far away and videotape it.
No, I think it's gonna happen, so you have to do it because you don't believe.
Yeah, no, I'm okay. I think. Yeah. So it's bye-bye to the mummy now because the mummy gets attacks the car.
Yeah.
And Rudy uses the bow and arrow to unravel the mummy, connects it to like one element of the
wrap.
The wrap. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And then shoots the wrap to a tree, and then it just kind of completely unravels. That is the best way to kill a mummy.
Right.
Brilliant. So so easy. So good. I like that. I really enjoyed that. Did you guys like that scene?
Yeah. He says something smart too, doesn't he? When he does it,
I don't remember what he says.
I can't remember what he says.
It's probably his like great one-liner.
Yeah,
Hasta la vista, baby.
Okay, that's an Arnold one-liner.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
I might have actually been one of those.
So Dracula ends up going to like Sean's house, and he blows up the tree house, and the dad tries to shoot him a couple times. The bullets just go through him, and then he turns into a bat and leaves. Did you see a point to this scene?
Oh, okay, hold on, wait. Is that the scene he goes to his house?
Yeah.
And then he blows up
the treehouse.
The treehouse. So the whole point of it was to go blow up their Monster Squad treehouse, right?
But why?
Because he doesn't want them to be a group. He basically wants them to. He went there to go kill them, but he didn't realize that they weren't in the treehouse.
I guess, but like at that point, like you're Dracula. Why do you care what they do? To me, I thought this scene was just to find a reason for the dad to go find Dracula, to go follow and get to the.
That was one.
That's why I thought the only reason I thought it was there for.
Didn't he say he was gonna kill the kid too, though?
Yeah,
he told us so.
Yeah, but he told the dad, so the dad would come follow him. Like that's why I thought. Like he knew that, but he knew that. That's why I said like I don't think he knew that he was in the treehouse because of what Xavier just said. He told the dad, "I'm going to find your kid and kill him."
I think he told the dad that I'm going to find the kid and kill him, so he could use the dad as bait and maybe trade the dad for like the amulet. Because you know how classic bad guys always take the hero's weakness.
That's true. Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I think Dracula is like I don't know. I think he's too smart for that though. I didn't love it. I didn't love that sequence. I just don't understand why Dracula would go there, like, and especially he went there in his hearse
just to piss him off. You know,
he could fly as a bat. Why didn't he just fly as a bat?
His hearse is.
Why does he have a hearse?
Right. His hearse can go through things, man.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, at the church, the Patrick's sister tries to read, but she's actually not really a virgin.
So there was that one time with Derek, or what was his name?
I don't remember.
Right.
That's so brilliant, though. Why isn't it working? She read it correctly somehow.
Yeah, it's the '80s at its best, man.
But you know what? It's funny. Like it's so interesting because all of the kids are virgins, but yeah, you need a female virgin, but they don't say that. Like today, like you would have to be more specific.
Yeah.
Because like that's real. I found it interesting at least. Rudy ends up going on a killing spree, kills the vampire brides, kills the werewolf with the silver bullet.
The werewolf just explodes. That was
Phoebe.
Well, he don't they use dynamite first,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then he
he
comes
blows
back
up.
together, right? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Which I would imagine that would have been good enough to kill him, to dismember him like
Yeah.
that, but I guess not.
Guess not.
Phoebe, the sister, ends up reading the spell, and all the monsters go into the purgatory area when we see Van Helsing grab Dracula.
Nice job, guys.
Frankenstein goes in where Phoebe was crying because he comes back.
What happens with Horace?
Horace.
Yeah, Horace, the fat kid.
Nothing.
Who does he kill? That's a
He
big
killed
scene,
the
boys.
sea-
Oh, the sea monster.
The sea monster?
Sea monster, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's happening there in that scene?
Well, you go, I'll explain it.
Okay.
I explained so much of this movie. You
All
go
right,
ahead.
all right. So they're first of all, this is '80s at its best. They're at Burger King, right? And those guys want to let Horace into the place. So he turns around, he's got the shotgun, and he shoots him. And they're like, "Way to go, fat kid!" He's like, "My name is Horace." Right?
Yeah, I remember
Da-da-da! It's like so like
The cheesy one-liner.
cheesy one line,
Yeah.
man. It was great.
Yeah, very 80s and 90s. And then we get the ending that we're the Monster Squad.
Oh yeah, that's when the army comes in, right?
Yep.
But so just to recap on something there, that whole backdrop where that was shot at the Universal Studios, right? That's been in like 90% of the movies from the 90s. That
Wow.
same backdrop, man. It's insane, right?
Like every Universal movie, I'm assuming.
Yeah, basically, like they need like a town or whatever. That was like a part of the town. There's a scene where the little Phoebe girl, she's picked up by Dracula. They did that legit, and she was terrified. Like she was
Wow.
absolutely. So that was actually her actual face.
Wow.
Good.
So yeah,
Hard to put that kind of special effects then.
yeah.
I guess I really have one question. Do we want to see a movie like this again? Modernized.
No, it's like
I'll
you
be
said.
honest, it's lost. Like that, I think that the Universal Monsters is not going to keep up. The Universal Studios have actually tried,
And they failed twice.
With
Yeah, but-
Dark. What is it called? Dark.
Dracula Untold.
But you're looking at
The Dark Universe.
Dark
You're looking at this
yeah.
completely wrong, though. They failed because they're stupid. Dracula was the hero of his movie. The Mummy, Tom Cruise became the Mummy at the end, and again was the hero. In this dark universe, you're creating the villains.
No,
Your
yeah.
heroes. I'm talking about this kind of movie where Dracula runs the ship, and all the monsters follow him. And then I think with kids would work as well. But I think if anything, we learned from it and Stranger Things, as we brought up earlier, that we do want this kind of movie again.
Yeah.
I would want it. I think what's happening with we've had so many Avengers and all these Universal, DC superhero films.
They're like the westerns right now.
The kids today don't even know about the Universal Monsters.
Yeah.
So it's lost. It's like
It's a lost start.
Yeah.
What they do, they know about vampires. Vampires are cool. Vampires, they have
Absolutely.
souls, and werewolves, Teen Wolf, and Vampire Diaries. That's what they know, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I think
mean-
if Netflix made a series, if Netflix came out and made us one
Like the Stranger Things, but like with a monster squad. I think so
Yeah.
too. But I think you can make a movie. I think it'd be really good. And I don't necessarily know if I'd make it into like 8 movies. Like I'd make it like a Goonies movie. Like I would make it where like these kids, like, you can set it in the 80s, you can set it in the 2019, you set it in 2019 or 2025 when you want to make this movie.
Yeah.
I think it would work. I really do. I'm not convinced it couldn't. I think you got to make the villains. Like, this is what I said earlier tonight before we started talking. Like, we live in a Hollywood now where we need to make every villain a good guy because or a backstory to make them a reason why they're bad. Why can't Dracula just be bad?
Yeah, I know.
Like in the 1930s version in Bram Stoker's Dracula, he was just bad.
True.
He didn't even care.
I mean, I would come up with a better story than what we got with Monster Squad, but I would be content to see it done again and done well.
Right.
This isn't the Goonies where like I don't need a Goonies sequel. I don't need a Goonies remake. That movie was perfect. I don't think you can remake that movie. This movie, the characters allow you to remake it. I don't know if I would use the same 5 characters because Eugene, none of them were really developed well enough. I don't know if I'd keep like the backstory of the parents, but I would take this idea of a Monster Squad and I would run with it.
Yeah. You know what? I know that they tried to make a sequel to this movie, like tons of times, and it didn't work. Who knows? I would be.
But start fresh. I want to make a sequel.
Yeah,
this is a movie where if you remade, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
But remake it not like this, not with the same characters, with the same villains.
Yeah. You know what I'm interested in is this movie didn't make it when it came out until 20 years later. They realized that they had, all the kids from the 80s that loved it from VHS. So now they're putting on a documentary about the movie.
Yeah, of course they are, because it's a good movie.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any questions that you guys want to talk about with it?
No.
All right.
Good.
What are your ratings, gentlemen?
I'm going to give it 9 out of 10.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give it a 1987 rating. I'm going to give it a 9.5 because it scared the living shit out of me as a kid. And it was great. So
I also went 9.5 out of 10 because I went with nostalgia. Like this movie, I'm not comparing this to a 2019 movie. I'm comparing this to a movie from its era in 1987. And I think the special effects, maybe they don't hold up, but they were good for the time.
Yeah, you got
the character relations were realistic. And you know what? Although, yes, there's a lot of problems with the plot.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so old and there's so much positives that help it a little bit, but it's not the greatest movie, but it's good. It reminds you of a better period when they were making better movies,
right?
Yeah.
Doesn't when you watch it, you're like, oh man, I can. For me, I'm like, I can smell the popcorn. I can smell like that era. Like it's just, I get right into it, guys. Like I was like crying.
I agree. All right. Well, that's it for us this week. Next week on our podcast, we will be talking Godzilla, King of the Monsters. We'll be talking about Rocket Man. And speaking of monster movies, with Godzilla coming out and talking about Monster Squad, we will be giving you our top 10 monster movies. Maybe Monster Squad will be on one of our lists.
Snap.
Before we let you go, though, we want to thank Angelo for being a part of the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming, man.
Yeah, man, it was wicked. I was so not used to doing this type of stuff, so like when I'm here, I'm like looking at you guys. I'm like, what do I do?
And not only is Angelo, have podcasts like the Get Down and the High Class, he's also an author.
Yes, I got a book. It's called Shit It Happens. The Bio Chronicles of a Man versus, I'm not going to say it. But basically the book is on amazon.com.ca.uk. And it's about me and my embarrassing stories about living with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So go pick it up.
Well, thank you again for thank you for coming on our show. And we'll see you guys all next week.
All right.
See you next week.
See you guys.